And we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Pace and Johnson
with a cinema review.
It is Monday, April 6th, 2026, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemaster's Reviews. Exciting show this week. I hope everyone had a very nice 3-day weekend, had fun celebrating Easter with your family or just alone, got some time off. Hope you were able to use that time to go see some movies. We are going to be reviewing 2 movies this week, that being the Super Mario Galaxy movie, the sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie, as well as the drama, the new film with starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. I say we jump right into the show this week, starting with our first review of the weekend, the highest grossing film of the weekend, and also I believe tracking to be the highest grossing film of the year so far, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic. This is a sequel to the 2023 film, the Super Mario Brothers movie. Once again, Illumination Animation is the ones behind this movie. They're behind all the Despicable Me movies, the Secret Life of Pets, Sing, all those types of movies. And they are once again making a sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie. This one follows, we open this one with following Bowser Jr. He is the son of Bowser, the villain from the first movie. Bowser Jr., voiced by Benny Safdie, and he is trying to rescue his dad, who has been captured and imprisoned ever since he tried to capture Princess Peach and take over the Mushroom Kingdom and failed. Peach and Mario have been keeping him captive. So Bowser Jr. has a plan to use a powerful source of light that he found in the galaxy, powered up by someone by the name of Rosalina, voiced by Brie Larson. Rosalina is a princess from space who flies around in this giant spaceship commanded by Lumas. If you remember the first movie, Lumas are those sort of star things. And Bowser Jr. is going to try to use Rosalina's power to create this giant portal, essentially, in order to conquer the Mushroom Kingdom with his dad and hopefully regain his dad from Mario and Peach. Peach learns of this princess by the name of Rosalina in trouble, and Peach wants to help out another princess, decides to rocket herself into space and leaves the Mushroom Kingdom in the hands of Mario and Luigi. Mario voiced by Chris Pratt once again, and Luigi voiced by Charlie Day. Lots of shenanigans end up happening throughout the movie. Movie is jam-packed with all these different little Nintendo and Mario references. The original Super Mario Brothers movie was a movie I enjoyed. I wouldn't say I loved, and I don't necessarily think there was, at the time, I didn't think there was anything wrong with that, because that was a movie that was very clearly intended for kids. It wasn't trying to go anything past that. It was not trying to be an animated movie that is only that is appealing to both kids and adults alike, just because of how good the writing is. No, this was very clearly a movie that is intended for a younger audience. If you are a big Mario fan like I am, you might be able to appreciate some of the major references in there. But if you aren't, the movie very clearly was made for a target audience in mind, and clearly the target audience liked that when you look at how much that movie made. A movie was popular enough to get a sequel. And this one, once again, it has that same attitude of, this is very clearly for the new and younger Mario fans. It's not necessarily for the adult Mario fans, because if it was, certain things would be more flushed out in sort of the story. But I can't quite explain it. It weirdly bothers me more this time. And I oddly have a lot of thoughts that I want to talk about with this movie. So I'll just talk about the first thing. I do want to give the movie some credit with what it does right, because I do think there are some things that it does right. One, it looks absolutely stunning and captures the feel and the sound of the Mario games perfectly. This movie is called the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's not really adapting Super Mario Galaxy. It has references from so many other Mario games. You get Mario World, you get Mario Odyssey, you get Super Mario 64. But I will say, when you are watching this movie, you truly do feel like you are in the Mushroom Kingdom and you are in a Nintendo video game with how just colorful all the worlds in this movie are, how just crisp it looks when our characters are just flying through space. It looks absolutely excellent. Oh, water. Something I love about the Mario games is just how good water looks in those games. Specifically, Super Mario Sunshine. Big Mario fanboy. I'll admit it. So I have a ton of Mario history in my head. But just how just crisp and beautiful everything looks. When I'm looking at certain characters that are recreated for this movie, Goombas look like Goombas. Bowser Jr. looks like Bowser Jr. When I'm seeing Rosalina for the first time, that is exactly what I would imagine Rosalina would look like on screen, and it looks absolutely great. The music also incredible. I didn't look who scored the film. I know the first one was scored by Brian Tyler, and I think he did a really good job there. I think whoever scored this movie also did a phenomenal job again, just sort of like remixing classic Mario themes. Yeah, Brian Tyler is once again composing, just like he uses Mario themes from Mario Galaxy, from Mario Odyssey, from just classic 8-bit tunes, and the way how Brian Tyler was able to orchestrate all of these, I really enjoyed, and just it for better or for worse. Actually, not really for worse. It really does feel like you are watching a Mario game on screen, and you are watching these characters live and breathe on their own. And I do appreciate that from a pure fan aesthetic and from a pure like atmospheric aesthetic. It captured the feel of those games really well, and it does look absolutely stunning. Like this is in no way just this cheap cash grab money. No, you can tell a lot of work went into this movie, especially from the animation side, and I want to give it credit there. I think the reason I can't, why I just find it so hard to enjoy this movie is because from a just plot perspective, and I know it sounds silly to really hyperanalyze a kid's movie like this, it is so bare bones and gives me, as a just general adult movie watcher, it gives me nothing to really appreciate. I feel kind of like it feels kind of redundant to explain the plot, not necessarily because you've heard the plot before, which I'm sure you have. You've seen animated movies like this where characters are going off into another world and they're constantly chasing different characters. But just because it barely even has a plot, probably midway through, because it's so much more focused on adding more references or just throwing different things into your face. And it just makes you just scratching your head of like, what is the point of what we are watching? And as a Mario fan, I'm able to recognize everything that's going on. If you're not a Mario fan, I don't see how you could enjoy it unless you are just truly there for the true lizard brain aspect of, oh, I'm just watching pretty colors on my screen. And I just find that to be really, really lazy filmmaking. I appreciate what they tried to do in the first half of this movie, where it seems like Bowser, who has been imprisoned since the first movie, actually does want to get along with Mario and Luigi. He actually does want to try and help them find Peach and find Rosalina, and maybe help fight against his son. But the second he meets his son, there is no sort of like inner turmoil or debate among the character. The second Bowser meets Bowser Jr., it's like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm going to help you once again try to take over the Mushroom Kingdom. So all that development we had in the first half is essentially just thrown in the trash, and I just found that to be really, really silly. The voice cast, for the most part, does a very good, is doing a pretty solid job as their characters. Chris Pratt, he's not good as Mario. You can very clearly tell he's phoning it in with every single line. It doesn't make the movie necessarily worse, but I think it would be nice to have an actor that's maybe giving a little bit more to his role. At the same time, Mario is kind of a blank slate in this movie, even more of a blank slate than he was in the first movie. I appreciate the first movie trying to give him a little bit more of a personality. This one, he kind of takes the sideline in terms of like his character arc to Rosalina and to Bowser Jr., so I thought that was a little silly. But other actors are good. Charlie Day, I genuinely do think, is a very, very good Luigi. He is able to play this like hyper neurotic sidekick-esque character really well, and he's super funny. Anya Taylor-Joy is doing a fine job. I think Brie Larson is doing a fine job. The one actor who, Benny Safdie, I don't think he's amazing, but I appreciate that he's doing a voice and he's very clearly trying to do something. The one voice actor I will absolutely give credit that is doing an amazing job is Donald Glover as Yoshi. And I think the fun part about it is when you see a bunch of celebrity voice actors, you're usually expecting, okay, that character is going to have that voice. Like Chris Pratt as Mario, it doesn't sound like the Mario we know. It sounds like Chris Pratt doing a slightly Brooklyn accent. That is not Yoshi here. Donald Glover is doing a pitch-perfect Yoshi impression. You can kind of tell that it's Donald Glover, but just knowing that it is Donald Glover just adds so much humor to the fact that when you hear just Yoshi with this high-pitched voice, you're like, oh my gosh, that is Donald Glover doing all of those voices. It reminds me of Robert Pattinson in The Boy and the Heron, which how far he went to just creating this very distinct voice for the Heron. Well, Donald Glover obviously isn't creating a voice. He is doing the best Yoshi impression he can and is in no way trying to be like, oh, I'm Donald Glover playing Yoshi. No, I am playing Yoshi. I think that was a really, really fun aspect. And that was a lot of, that did bring me a lot of joy. But yeah, like I said, this movie is far less concerned in telling a compelling story and more concerned in throwing in a bunch of reference to different Mario references and different Nintendo properties, and in probably in some underhanded way trying to set up a larger Nintendo universe. If you've seen the promotional material that has come out throughout the movie, this isn't a spoiler. I'm surprised Illumination didn't want to keep this secret. Fox McCloud is in this movie. Obviously, the characters are journeying through space, so they end up teaming up with another Nintendo, a Nintendo space character. Fox McCloud, if you played the Star Fox games, Fox is the main character in those games. Fox, voiced by Glenn Powell, again does a fine job. But again, it really doesn't feel like Fox is there to add anything to the story. He really just feels like he's there because we're probably going to be getting a Star Fox movie if this movie does well, which it is, and I will give it credit there. But it seems like every little thing the movie sets up is just trying to be like, okay, we can spin off anything that this movie gives us into its own little property. And like Fox McCloud is a character that has his own personality in the games, doesn't really mesh with the tone that these movies are setting up of just, oh, jokes and goofy stuff, and oh, we're not taking ourselves seriously. Star Fox kind of takes itself seriously in a very like melodramatic way. And just the fact that they're just throwing everything together, it just doesn't feel like it sticks. It honestly feels like someone was trying to make like a smoothie, and instead of blending it all together, they just put the ingredients in a smoothie and forgot to blend it and just dumped it all out. And it's just like, well, there are the ingredients, but I can't enjoy this for what it's supposed to be because you forgot to mix everything together. If you saw the trailers, you probably expect this to be a very Rosalina heavy movie. You're probably going to be a little disappointed because there is not as much Rosalina as you would expect. It feels weird to call this movie the Super Mario Galaxy movie, where really the only thing that is Super Mario Galaxy-esque about it is the fact that we are in space. Bowser Jr. is not in the Super Mario Galaxy games. Yoshi is in it, but not until 2. That is my other thing. If you're going to throw all these references at us and want me to enjoy it, you got to be accurate with the games. Like my whole thing is like, okay, why if you want Bowser Jr. to be the main villain, why are we not doing a Sunshine movie? Why are we not on Delfino Plaza? Why isn't Mario just cleaning up stuff with Flood? Okay, who cares? Probably getting a little bit too in the weeds of things. But if you are just going to but if you are just going to survive as a just reference machine, if those references don't hold up, then I get to call it out, and then at that point you have nothing. Yeah, just looking at my notes. Oh yeah, just a small thing that I just want to talk about. Actually, okay, 2 more things. The way how this movie never slows down even once. Like the second Mario, Luigi, and Peach go on their journey throughout space, the movie is never slowing down. You never have a moment for the characters to breathe. You're going from planet to planet, trying to get off the planet in order to get towards the center of the galaxy. We learn it's called the Space Jump Galaxy, which is a galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy, so that is pretty cool. And yeah, we see our characters jump from planet to planet, go from like Mario boss fight to Mario boss fight, but never do we have a moment to like slow down and take everything in because we're always just like on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. It really does feel like this movie was designed for the TikTok generation, which I feel like we shouldn't be pandering movies to, but that's just me. And just the last thing, I don't want to tackle it too much, but the journey that Bowser goes on in this movie of Bowser Jr., the second Bowser Jr. meets up with Bowser, Bowser Jr. convinces Bowser that all of his friends are fake and family are the only people you can trust. I genuinely hated that message, and I felt that that was kind of evil. Again, I don't want to dock the movie too many points for that because maybe it just was unintentional. But I think the idea of saying, like, your family are the only people you can trust and all of your friends are truly trying to backstab you, I think that is a really damaging message, especially to send out to kids. That like, oh, there's no such thing as found family, and I did find that was a little bit despicable of what if the movie was trying to do that, it felt really gross. But yeah, I know this movie is going to make $1 billion. I know it's kind of inevitable, and I know I should just be maybe sitting here just saying, Payson, it's a kid's movie, don't get too upset about it. But at the same time, that's not what got us Toy Story. That's not what got us The Incredibles. That's not what got us How to Train Your Dragon. That's not what got us all of so much of Studio Ghibli's filmography. That mindset, oh, kids' movies are only supposed to be for kids. That's not what got us all those beautiful pieces of art. And I feel like just sitting here, and if I just gave this movie a pass, I would feel really dishonest with myself. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I will give it a slightly failing grade of a 5.5 out of 10. I know from the way it sounded like I might have gone even lower. This is not the worst movie in the world by any means, but it just kind of pisses me off in a way of like the excuse, oh, it's just a kid's movie, should not apply to any movie as far as I'm concerned. Because we've seen what animated movies in general can be, and movies that are targeted towards kids can be. And I feel like when you get a movie like this that is just trying to be the bare minimum and is just trying to hit the standard, it comes off very annoying. If you have kids, maybe wait to see it when it comes on stream, but this is not one that you need to rush out and see. Even if you are a diehard Mario fan like me, every Mario game that comes out, I'm going to buy day one. But this one, it really did just do nothing to me. Again, talking about these movies really do. I said in my Letterboxd review, watching these movies genuinely does make me feel a little bit like a snob because I wish I could just enjoy these for the reference machines that they are, but I need a little more from my movies. And yeah, I just wish that the excuse of, oh, it's for kids would just go away because we've seen what really great kids movies can be. But I say we move right into our second review of the week, that being The Drama, directed by Christopher Borgli. He was the director of another 2023 film, Dream Scenario, starring Nicolas Cage. This film stars Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. Coincidentally, the first of 3 Zendaya and Robert Pattinson collaborations in 2026. They will also be in The Odyssey and Dune Part 3. Dune Part 3 tickets went on sale today. Sold out in minutes because they just randomly went on sale. Thanks, Warner Brothers. Really love that. Not annoying at all, but I digress. Yeah, Zendaya and Robert Pattinson play an engaged couple, Charlie and Emma. And this is going to be a tough movie to talk about without spoiling, so I'm going to try to dance around certain things. Everything seems to be going fine. We see the early parts of the relationship and how Charlie met Emma. Really awkward, but really funny first scene. Just to explain the first scene, Charlie sees Emma in a cafe. He notices her, thinks she's super pretty, sees that she's reading a book, and then he immediately goes on a book reviewing site to learn about things about the book, to try and like talk to her. Really fun things like that. We see them trying to write their wedding speeches. And one night while they are tasting wines for the wedding with their best man and their maid of honor, the maid of honor, Rachel, played by Alana Haim. That name sounds familiar. She is one of the Haim sisters, as well as she was the star of Licorice Pizza, one of my favorite movies of the 2020s. Alana Haim and Mamadou Athie, who plays Mike, who is Charlie's best man. While they are wine tasting, they kind of devolve into a game of just saying, hey, let's just share some fun confessions. What is probably the worst thing that we've done as people? And without spoiling it, because if you've seen the trailer does a really great job of hiding what it is. Emma says what she did when she was in high school, and it leads everyone to have a plethora of different reactions. Charlie thinks it's insane, but kind of darkly funny. Rachel immediately says that is one of the most messed up things a person could do. How could you do that? Mike is kind of in the middle of everything. And throughout the movie, we start to see mainly the movie from Charlie's perspective of, hey, can I still truly love this person while knowing what they have done in the past and what they might potentially be capable of? And the movie is really interested in asking these questions and maybe not giving the easiest answers. I just want to say this is one of the most uncomfortable times I've had watching a movie, and I think that comes down a lot to almost every single aspect of this film. I think this movie is edited brilliantly, of seeing how different conversations are happening at once. I think the character of Charlie, we know that he immigrated from England, so he has maybe a little bit more of a laid-back reaction at the beginning, but as he starts seeing how everyone else is reacting to Emma's history, he starts realizing, like, wait, this is really messed up, and like, can I truly love this person? Can I go on with marrying this person? Should I just immediately call off the wedding like every single person wants me to? So yeah, movie's asking a ton of things. All of the scenes where you are having Charlie just really like sit in everything of what Emma might have done had me genuinely like clawing at the back of my neck watching, just truly nervous and just uncomfortable for the characters. So much secondhand embarrassment in the best way possible. I love how this movie did not make me feel comfortable at all. I love how this movie made me want to take a shower at the end. Not necessarily because like I'm watching disgusting imagery or terrible situations. It's because the scenarios of what we are watching these characters go through are genuinely that uncomfortable and that awkward to watch. And I really, really love just how Christopher Borgley directs everything. Zendaya and Pattinson are both Zendaya and Robert Pattinson are obviously the two leads of this movie. They're two of my favorite actors working today. And I love the performances from both of them because they're both giving such different energies. Zendaya is playing Emma in a very like sort of like stoic and sort of like defeated way because she knows what she did was bad and she wished that she shouldn't have had to say it. But at the same time, she's also very annoyed with how everything is going on because she truly does believe that she's a changed person. She truly believes that in no way would this ever happen again. I was a stupid young teen. Please don't hold me to my worst moment. But at the same time, then you have Robert Pattinson, who wants to believe her, but is so Robert Pattinson is so good at playing this like nervous buffoon in the best way possible, where Charlie is always out of breath in the second half of this movie. He's always sweating, and Pattinson brings a lot of the comedy to this movie. And this is genuinely like one of the more like underrated comedic performances I've seen in a while. I think I could see people calling this a dark romantic comedy, and I don't think that description is that much of a stretch because I think it is a romantic comedy. It has you asking a lot of questions, but it is so uncomfortable with how hard it makes you laugh, and so much of that comedy comes from Charlie not knowing what to believe. A lot of the movie is told through his head where you're just seeing different visions. I want to tackle some of those in a second, but Robert Pattinson is so good here. If you've seen him in Good Time, if you've seen him in The Lighthouse, he is able to play these really, really awkward, even if you've seen him in Mickey 17, I think he brings a lot of the titular Mickey 17 role type behavior to this role, except maybe like dialing back maybe like 20%. And I think that is really, really well done. It never feels like we are in like a different universe with how the characters are acting because they do seem to be acting in very realistic ways. But I think that adds to both the uncomfortable nature and a lot of the humor because you totally understand why Charlie is just completely on edge and just does not know what to do with himself in any sense of the word. Like I said, it finds a great job of finding the humor in incredibly awkward scenarios. Again, without spoiling anything, there is a scene where it is after the confession of Emma. We are at a wedding photo shoot, and if you've ever seen a wedding photo shoot filmed, you often have the photographer like super chippy trying to be like, oh my gosh, smile more. Remember, you two know each other. You two love each other. It's so nice that you two are in love. And just they cannot because just like Charlie is having such a tough time like bringing everything down that he knows, and Emma wants to smile but she can't because she knows how uncomfortable Charlie is, and both characters know where each other are coming from, but they can't say anything. So much is done in such little dialogue that I absolutely loved it, and just the way how it finds just the humor in all these awkward scenarios. I think Bordley does a really, really great job there. It's fun just watching how over the top everyone gets. Easily the person that is the most angry at what Emma did in the past is Rachel. Alana Haim is so good at playing this bitchy character, and just how her trajectory throughout the film, because she's like, is she still going to be the maid of honor in the wedding? Is she not going to be the maid of honor? I don't want to spoil where that goes, but it ends in a really, really fun way, or just a really effective way. I will say, if there was one major element of this movie I wasn't the biggest fan of, if you saw Dream Scenario, you know that movie used a lot of magical realism. Maybe magical realism isn't the right word, but you just have different sort of fantasy sequences where we are in a character's head and we are seeing what they are seeing. Oftentimes we go specifically into Charlie's head, and he is imagining the worst scenario of what could possibly be happening. I wasn't the biggest fan of those scenes. I feel like they belonged in a different film. And every time that sort of happened, it kind of took me out. I think there's one instance where it's handled really, really well with a sort of with a borderline Chekhov's gun, where the second it's introduced, we know okay, I think I know how Christopher Bordley is going to use that to visualize how our characters are feeling. But other than that, I think those dream scenarios. Wow, that genuinely was not intended, but that just came out. I do think those situations could have been maybe dialed down a little, and honestly, I probably would have preferred if you just would have cut them all out in general. But that was only my real negative towards the film. Again, it does conclude in an incredible third act. Throughout the movie, I was sort of questioning is this movie sticking the landing? It's asking a lot of really tough questions. It honestly reminded me of Materialist a lot of way from last year, where that movie asked a lot of tough questions, but I think it was also trying to balance a lot of different tones. I think this movie sticks the landing a lot better than that movie does. And I think it's because the third act is so well done and truly feels like you are at a After Hours, A Serious Man sort of anxiety-ridden comedy in the worst way possible for the characters, but the best way possible for a viewer. I love when a movie can make me feel just both I am really I am both laughing but also cringing at the exact same time. That's really, really well done. I will say the ending of the movie doesn't answer everything. It doesn't leave you in the easiest place. It sort of lets you sit in are the characters making the right decision? And it doesn't tell you what to think. I think some people are probably going to be a little annoyed with how with how we end up. I personally wasn't. I do like that Bordley is not interested in answering the questions that it is proposing. It is simply interested in raising them and letting the audience come to the answers for themselves. These are my favorite types of movies personally, that are really trying to engage with the audience, but also allows the audience to engage with themselves. And I think the drama does a really, really great job at doing that. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. This is one that I don't think is going to be for everyone, but it really, really worked for me. Christopher Bordley is asking some very, very difficult and tricky questions about how much you could accept about your partner's past. I think it's spearheaded by two excellent performances from Zendaya and especially Robert Pattinson. And I think it just has such a perfect grasp on its tone. I think if it maybe had a few more tweaks, it could have been an all-timer for me. But for what it is, I think this is still a great film. This is a movie I would really highly recommend you go see. I love supporting smaller adult dramas like this. A24 is starting to transition more into the more mid-budget films. If you saw Mario Supreme, if you saw Civil War, if you saw The Smashing Machine, I like those movies to varying degrees. I absolutely love Mario Supreme. Really like Civil War. I think Smashing Machine is pretty solid, but this is another one that I think is really, really good and would highly recommend you check out. But yeah, that just about does it for this week. Thank you all for watching Cinemaster's Reviews. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video so it helps grow our channel. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing You, Me, and Tuscany, another fun romantic comedy. That one looks to be a little lighter than the drama is, as well as at least one other film. There's nothing really that big coming out this week, but I'm sure I'm going to be able to go see 2 movies. Again, thank you all for tuning in, and as always, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Okay, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.